Alright, let's get right into the latest whirlwind from Sister Wives because this episode, it starts in North Carolina. The very first stop on what can only be described as Kody Brown's grand apology tour. And let me tell you, the energy already feels awkward before anyone opens their mouth. Kody sits down with Janelle. And instead of addressing years of emotional wreckage, decades of complication, and enough resentment to fill a canyon, what does he bring up? The weather, of course, he does. He laughs, attempting to appear casual, and says something like, "Well, I always talk about the weather anyway," as if that somehow makes it charming. Then he adds that when you're gearing up for a serious conversation, you've got to break the ice somehow. So hey, why not talk temperatures and humidity instead of the obvious elephant in the room? And honestly, for once in my entire life, I said to myself, wow, Kody being relatable? I'm shocked I even said that. But there it was. Now, here's what jumped out at me immediately. Janelle was excited. Not only was she polite, but open-minded, actually thrilled to meet with her ex-husband. The moment she saw him, her whole body language softened. He asked her if she'd ever been to the restaurant before. She just about lit up, saying, "Oh yeah, it's a great spot." She even went on to say that when he suggested it, she thought, yes, absolutely, and there Kody was, soaking it in, nodding proudly like he'd picked the perfect date location. The vibe felt weirdly warm, almost too warm for two people who have spent the last few years walking through emotional landmines. Then Kody shifts gears dramatically. He leans in and tells her he wants to start with an apology. And Janelle, surprised, goes, "Wow. Okay," he says that he would like to apologize for being angry. Just angry. And I just had to pause. Really? That's the apology? Out of 600 issues, that's the one he picked? But he presses on, adamant he knows his anger hurt her, and she brushes it off like, well, it wasn't that bad. Then she opens up about mourning what the family was supposed to be, the big picture, the ideal they once believed in. Janelle talks about grieving that dream, but says that when she looks back, the kids still turned out solid, still care about each other. And that's what they had wanted most all along. And in my head, I'm screaming, Janelle, you don't have to minimize this man's behavior because, while she's describing this harmonious sibling bond, I'm thinking about the 5 kids who don't speak to him at all, the relationships he let with her, the emotional distance he created, the kids who now feel like strangers to them. But before I can even finish that thought, we cut to Mary, who is off in Vegas hosting some dating event. They're looking at their phones, answering relationship questions like, is flirting cheating? And Mary responds with a firm, confident yes, and listen. The moment she said that, I checked out because Mary, who got emotionally entangled with a catfish, is now defining the ethics of flirting. Couldn't do it. I had to mentally exit that scene immediately. Back in North Carolina, and let me just say this, the restaurant they're in looks gorgeous. Warm lighting, lush decor, those huge palm leaf wall pieces. I kept getting distracted admiring the interior design. It was giving luxury retreat energy. Anyway, the apology parade continues with Kody. Now, he says he's sorry for telling Janelle he didn't love her. He swears it wasn't true. And instantly, Janelle jumps in. I knew you did. I knew it. I knew you loved me. She repeats it several times, as though to pacify him, not herself, him, painful to watch. Because it now feels like she's comforting the man who should be comforting her. Kody keeps going, confessing that he said such hateful things purely out of anger. At this point, all those who watch are asking in unison, what is the purpose of this whole apology tour? What's his end game? Then we cut to Utah and suddenly the whole mood shifts. Christine and David are on a pickleball court, having the time of their lives. David teases her in that way couples do when they're actually secure, happy, and emotionally connected. He's trash-talking in a light, funny manner. Christine, laughing but competitive, tells him to stop because he wins everything. Their chemistry is natural, lively, real. It's honestly adorable. Afterwards, they take a walk around the track. Christine discloses that Kody reached out again and wanted to extend an olive branch, and immediately she shuts it down. She doesn't want to meet him. She doesn't trust him. She calls him mean. She says she never wants another conversation with him again. And she hits the nail on the head. Kody shouldn't be reaching out to his ex-wives. He should be reaching out to his kids, apologizing to them, healing what he broke with them. David is trying to play the wise mediator, suggesting people shouldn't look back at the past. Christine firmly and rightfully says, no, he needs to fix things with his children, not us. She even says that thinking about meeting him makes her want to throw up. That's how deep the trauma runs. While in North Carolina, Janelle is just radiating. She's enjoying this emotional reconnecting. Shockingly, so is Kody. Both of them start reminiscing about how wonderful the early years were, how strong their emotional bond was, how good their relationship used to feel. Then Janelle wonders aloud if that emotional connection is still there and admits she thinks it might be. She begins to question whether this sudden wave of tenderness is Kody's way of wanting to reconcile. And I'm just sitting there thinking, no, she didn't. Oh, Janelle, please don't get swept back into that storm. Asterisk, and yes, she certainly did. Janelle said it, meant it, and felt it. And just when you think this emotional reunion couldn't get any thicker, Kody shifts into another dramatic apology, one that reaches way back into the early years of their marriage. He tells her, you were in some really tough situations back then, and I didn't protect you. And the way Janelle soaks that in, she is loving every minute of it, not in a manipulative way, but in that deep, human way where someone finally acknowledges your hurt after years of silence. She's glowing. He's attentive. And for once, Kody isn't yelling, deflecting, or blaming. He's actually sitting there and taking accountability, or at least performing it. But here's where I can't help myself. Where is the accountability for the kids? Where is the apology for the relationships he let break down? For the phone calls he didn't make? For the birthdays he missed and the distance he created? Why is he apologizing to Janelle over lunch, but not sitting face to face with Maddie? Why isn't he knocking on the doors of the children he pushed away? That's the part which really resonates with me. Then production, bless them, cuts to Robyn's confessional. And the question they drop on her? Absolute gold. They ask, what if one of Kody's ex-wives wanted to return to the family? Robyn's face freezes, then twists, then forces a laugh that is so strained you can hear the panic vibrating beneath it. She keeps repeating, do what? Do what? Like someone just told her the world is ending. She tries to mask the anger behind uncomfortable smiles, but her eyes say everything. She is furious at even the thought of Kody reconnecting with another wife emotionally, and production knows exactly what they're doing. They cut to close-ups, letting all those micro-expressions flow, her forced laughs, her tight jaw, her eyes widened as if she had just heard the worst news in her life. Even the director breaks the fourth wall and goes, sorry, what's happening? Iconic, that deserves an Emmy for editing alone. Then Robyn says, in this dramatic, trembling voice, don't put hope in my head. Hope can be a dangerous thing, and, oh, we know exactly what she means. Hope is dangerous when you're terrified that your monopoly on a man might be slipping. Hope is dangerous when you fear the emotional hold you once had could be diluted. Hope is dangerous when you see your husband smiling across the table at the woman he once loved, maybe still loves, and wonder whether you're still the center of his world. And production, again masterfully, cuts right to the scene of Kody and Janelle, smiling and reminiscing. This wasn't subtle, this was deliberate. Then Kody goes even deeper with the apologies. This time, he apologizes for not protecting Janelle from Me or Idato. Yes, you heard that right, and Janelle does not mince words. She's bluntly honest, refreshingly raw, real, and overdue. She says, without flinching, that she and Mary are two completely different people, and that they would never be friends. She hints at things Mary did, moments where Kody chose Mary's side over hers. She lays decades of unspoken tension right there on the table, and I am sitting there like, yes, Janelle, this is what we've been wanting. Say the quiet part out loud. Tell the truth, none of that sugar-coated. Fake nice video chat energy where they pretend to be supportive. No. This was real. This was a woman telling her truth sans fear. Then the preview for the next episode hits. And Janelle's friend asks her point blank, would you ever get back together with Kody? And Janelle, instead of giving the absolutely not we all expected, says, I don't know. That's when I felt it. The dread. The deja vu. Here it goes again. Meanwhile, Kody's apology tour continues, making stop number 2, Christine and David. He sits down and guess what the very first words out of his mouth are? The exact same line he used on Janelle. I'm sorry for saying I didn't love you. It's just like he copied it from the script that he drafted the night before. Same words, same tone, like he practiced it in the mirror. And I am sitting here asking myself, does he even know what those words mean? Or is he simply checking boxes so that he can say he tried because these apologies feel recycled, almost rehearsed, and this, with a million questions and more emotional chaos for all of us, concludes the episode.